I'm going to welcome everyone probably a couple of times here today. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. And what we're going to do first is do our swearing in of the newly elected officials, including myself, Evan Christou, Samantha Miller-Herrera, and Larry Lamora. And just a brief change on the agenda. For that, Larry is being sworn in today by his daughter Christina Mastriani and his grandson Lorenzo Mastriani. So let's start with the swearing in.
Come right in the front.
Okay. It's one at a time. Which does come up. So someone has to read. Who's going to do the reading?
Kevin.
Where's Kevin? Come on over. Throw your jacket off. Face this way. More this way. This way. Okay.
Because you're the fullest.
You're going to read that. Okay. All right. All right. Okay.
Do I say my name or your name?
Let's use my name today. Let's go. You go over here more so that there we go. Yep. Brittany? Oh, you're okay. There. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raise your right hand and put your left on the Bible and repeat after me. I
I, Stephen A. Thomasone,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of
that I will
America
support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Town Supervisor
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Town Supervisor
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you. Do not know who is up here with me. This is my wife Marilyn, my daughter Brittany, who is married to Kevin. Kevin and Brittany got married a couple months ago. The last name now is Knights, so I have to get used to that. I officially changed your name on my cell phone.
Oh, boy.
And my daughter Valerie, or our daughter Valerie. So thank you very much, and my family's here also. My mom and my dad. Let's start with number 2. Your hands are really sweaty. Right now.
Raise your right hand, put your left on the Bible, and repeat after me. I, Euripides Evan Christou,
I, Euripides Evan Christou,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will fully discharge the duties of the office of Town Board
and I will fully discharge the duties of the office of Town Board
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God. For those of you who don't know who's up here, this is my wife Lainey and my nephew Zachary, who Zachary was my de facto campaign manager and was responsible for putting up a lot of signs around town. Thank you.
You hold this for me? Please. Where was Daddy yesterday? Hold up. Hold on. Come on. Or just look at me, okay? Ready? There you go.
Raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible, and repeat after me. I
I,
Samantha Miller Herrera,
Samantha Miller Herrera,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will
and that I will
faithfully discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Town Board
Town Board
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. This is my husband Joel and my daughter Violet, and I just want to thank my family for coming out and everyone who supported me this election season. Thank you.
Raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible, and repeat after me. I, Larry Lamora,
I, Larry Lamora,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New
of
York,
the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Highway Superintendent
the duties of the office of Highway Superintendent
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God. I'd like to thank my family and friends for the support for re-election for Highway Superintendent. This is my grandson Lorenzo James Mastriani and my daughter Christina Mastriani. Thank you.
You ready? Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the organizational meeting of the Town of Rotterdam, January 1st, 2016, to order. And what I'd like to do in the beginning here is to recognize some officials who are here who made the travel far and wide, but mostly short trips, I think. Congressman Paul Tonko is here with us today. Assemblyman Angela Santa Barbara. Sheriff Don D'Agostino is here. County Legislator Tony Jasinski. And I apologize, but I left my glasses in the back. Councilman Ed Kosher from the city. Supervisor Joe Landry from the town of Niskayuna. Yeah, that's Rick Russo, yeah. Rich Russo, County Legislator. Chris Gardner, County Attorney, is here. And raise your hand if anyone? Oh, Dawn Pascarella, I know she's here. Dawn Pascarella, our Receiver of Taxes, is here. And there are various town officials here as well. And if you don't mind, I'm going to dispense with that so we can move on to our agenda today. Thank you very much all for being here today. So, Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Mr. Christo?
Present.
Mr. Lamore?
Here.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Here.
Mr. Villano?
Here.
Mr. Tomazon?
Present.
5 present.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So a quorum is present. And what I'd like to do now is ask for everyone to stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And Congressman Tonko, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I do have some remarks, so I hope that you will all please bear with me for a few minutes. And again, Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you very much for taking the time to be here with us today. You know, most town boards will tell you what their priorities are, and when I say town board, it's not just the supervisor that commits to improving or doing what he or she can to improve the quality of life of our community. But to be brief, we will commit and maintain a fiscally conservative budget. Our role here is to assist and do things that will improve the town, like growing our commercial tax base. It's important that we remain under the tax cap. Most importantly, we have to ensure public safety. And there's a variety of ways we do that, mostly ensuring that our police department has the resources that they need to protect our community. And lastly, we need to rebuild our town infrastructure. So how do we do these things? Well, one of the things that we committed to is to eliminate the brush fee. We're going to work together as a board to eliminate the brush fee. We're going to do what we can to pare it down and utilize our general and highway funds to do more paving, road, and drainage projects. Later this month, we will appoint a town comprehensive plan committee, a steering committee to lead the planning process and to aid us to review options of how best to preserve our rural and historic character while attracting new commercial and housing development, while preserving green space and protecting our aquifer. I know it sounds like a lot, but that is exactly what the comprehensive plan and what the steering committee will be tasked with doing. There will be changes to our zoning code so that we can hopefully cease spot zoning. We have an obligation to improve zoning classifications to land uses that will in the future have the ability to support sewer, septic, and water infrastructure. The committee will educate the public about the process by conducting community visioning public workshops. These workshops will occur all over town from Rotterdam Junction to Highbridge. This will help ensure the planning needs of our community are met and all of us are involved in the zone changes as part of the development of the comprehensive plan. The recent great news of the Curry Road Shopping Center and Draper Center's revitalization, more businesses and jobs coming to our corporate park and improvements to Hamburg Street make our need to update our comprehensive plan critical. This is important for Rotterdam's future. Our plan must be inviting to allow Rotterdam the potential for private sector and state and county investments in infrastructure. We must look along Curry Road, Broadway, Gilman Avenue, Hamburg Street, Altamont Avenue, Duanesburg Road, our main corridors, Main Street and the Rotterdam Junction, and consider what the residents and businesses in those areas consider best to maximize unused space and buildings and change or redesign those buildings that are existent before we start working on new structures. Our town employees have had to do more with less, especially these past few years. The effects of changes in healthcare plans and associated increased costs have made it challenging to provide funds for badly needed equipment, vehicles, and building repairs. We're going to address all of these needs and related staffing issues this year. We will continue to maximize our employee productivity and partner with our unions and our county, city, and neighboring municipalities on shared services efforts. Working with our town police department, county sheriff's office, and county and state officials, we will take whatever actions are needed to keep Rotterdam a safe community. Recent burglaries, car break-ins, drug and assault offenses, shootings, and other things that have happened, and this is, I hate to do this on this is not a bad note, I want this to be positive, understand, have highlighted the threats that we have. And we have to work together to protect our town. Vilifying the police department or town employees only emboldens those who come here to negatively impact our community. So the image of our town is important, and I'm going to do everything that I can in my power to stop it. So we must be consistent with our code enforcement and prosecute offenders who refuse to clean up and maintain their properties. Working with the local banks, grant writers, and county officials, we're going to do what we can to help restore buildings and revitalize neighborhoods hardest hit with abandoned homes and unkept properties. We must keep our Rotterdam Emergency Medical Services, or REMS, our paramedics, and Rotterdam Ambulance intact. Know that there are that they have received fees and they have donations that they've received in REMS. We need to do what we can to continue that and put a contract in place as soon as possible with them. In 2020, the town is going to celebrate its 200th anniversary. And this is obviously an important milestone for us as a town. And over the next, again, few months, we'll be announcing some things that we're going to do to get us towards that, to have events all around town, and looking forward to that. In closing, I want to thank you, and particularly those residents who presently in our armed forces or in the past have served our great country. Thank you to all of you who are firematics, volunteers, first responders, youth league coaches, members of fraternal organizations, and those who participate in their local churches. Thank you for your selfless community work. In short, we have to be collaborative and not combative here on the town board. We must be more aggressive in working with our county and state officials to advocate for funds and help with issues affecting our town, from the rising cost of services to economic development. Our town board will work with state departments, our county leaders, and Metroplex to improve Rotterdam, and this will help reposition Rotterdam to excel and move us forward in a positive manner. I want us to be successful, and we can only do this by working together. Let us be thankful for our town and all who live and work in Rotterdam. Let us spend more time on what we agree on and move the town and our people's future forward. Thank you. So our first item here is for public comment, privilege of the floor. Is there anyone, do we have anyone to address the public?
Jack, can you give me that clipboard right there?
Yeah.
Nothing? Okay, good. Nobody.
And that is Deputy Chief Manicus, who standing over there, and I didn't see him there, and former Deputy Chief Tim Brutt as well. So we've got a few folks here today. This is good. I saw you, Bill, so you can't get away now. I know you're here. Okay, Resolution 116.
The town board of the town of Rotterdam acknowledges the appointment of Evan Christou to the position of Deputy Supervisor of the town of Rotterdam.
May I have a motion?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Valano and a second by Councilmember Larmore. On the question. Any discussion? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Let's vote.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Congratulations. Thank you. And I don't think I can speak on it now. I should have done it on the question. I'll do that later. I'll talk about you later. Okay, resolution number 2 of the year 2016, fund the position of, go ahead, Dan, I'm
That's
sorry.
all right,
I'm
that's
used to
okay.
saying it.
Fund the position of confidential secretary with full employee benefits at an annual salary of $35,000.
May I have a motion?
I so move.
A motion by Councilmember.
Excuse me, can we first ask for if anybody has anything they want to say on that? Isn't that the way it's supposed to go?
Don't you make the motion and have discussion?
We,
Make a motion and discuss.
Any discussion?
yeah.
Oh, all right.
Christou was first, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Christou, a second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Please close vote.
Discussion.
No discussion? Thanks, Rick.
No problem.
Sorry. On the question, anyone have a comment? Rick?
I just wanted to make sure, I know we discussed it, but I just want to make sure that as for this confidential secretary, that it is not a CSA position. I just want to make sure on the record that that's the case.
That is absolutely the case. It is a non-union position, and it will be someone that will report in my office to me, but will do work for the town board.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Supervisor, I move for the question.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 316.
Reappoint Molly Collins of Rotterdam, New York to the position of Project Coordinator, Office of the Aging for the Rotterdam Senior Center, part-time with no employee benefits, not to exceed $18,500 per year, commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2017.
Okay, may I have a motion?
I move.
Motion by Councilmember Christo. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Larmore on the question.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to clarify my future vote.
Yes.
It's my understanding that Ms. Collins does a great job over at the senior center. She's particularly well-liked by the people that use those particular services. However, I have a position that retirees should not be rehired for any length of time beyond a short training period for their successors. Bringing people back onto the town payroll after they've retired prevents other individuals from getting opportunities for working in the town. I'm not against the passing down of information. I'm not against the passing the torch and having a training period, but this has been a second or third appointment for Ms. Collins. It's time to bring in somebody who hasn't already been on the payroll. I am against double dipping in all of its forms.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Mr. Vaughn, or Councilman Vaughn. Anyone else? Please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
No.
Mr. Tomazone?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 no.
So Councilman, Resolution 316 passes. Resolution 416.
Appoint Sandra L. Lipman of Rotterdam, New York to the position of Secretary to the Chief, part-time with no employee benefits at an hourly rate of $28.0697, not to exceed $30,000, effective January 4th, 2016.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I so move.
Motion by Councilmember Christo. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Miller Herrera on the question.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd just like to bring the attention to this board of two things. Once again, Ms. Lippman is a retiree who's being brought back to perform a role. It's my understanding that this is going to be a relatively short period of time, but with a salary of $30,000, it's more than 1,000 hours of additional training. For that reason, that would normally be enough for me to vote no. But I also like to bring to the attention of the town that there are currently in a police staff of 6 clerical workers working down there. We have approximately 35 to 37 sworn officers. We have 6 people working in clerical. That doesn't include the dispatchers that have been rolled over to the UCC. It's people that certainly work there. The cost of the town of these 6 positions combined, including benefits, approaches $300,000. I've been told that the town certainly needs more public safety. Certainly having more officers on the street may help that role. Maybe that's a better use of the money rather than bringing back a retiree, considering that $300,000 very easily could pay for 2 more officers by cutting a few clerical staff. I think that's a better use of our very modest discretionary funds.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to just add something on that. I would like to ask to have a motion to have 4.16 amended to make, instead of having it effective January 4th with, I guess it's a 1-year term because there's no end limit, I would like to have the end limit be a 6-month time frame. That way it gives her time to train for the next person coming in, but I agree with the fact that we shouldn't be hiring people that are retiring, and especially be going back into the same positions. I mean, if they wanted to keep working in those same positions, they shouldn't have retired. We shouldn't keep letting people double dip. We have a lot of people in this town are looking for jobs and looking for work. We should not be letting the same people work over and over again and no one else gets a chance. So, I mean, I say, give her the position, give her 6 months so she can train the people coming in, so we have a smooth transition. But I don't think we just keep hiring people that are retired out and keep coming on, because they're already getting one income and now they're getting a second income. There's people here that don't have any incomes. So it's just, I don't know, that's just my way of looking at things.
Okay, well, thank you both for your comments.
I can amend my position and I will second his motion.
Mr. Supervisor, may I make a comment?
We have a motion
Right.
on the floor already by,
Right. He amended it, so it was
Councilmember
Rick
Christo-
and then Joe
he-
Valano.
go ahead, Kate.
They made a motion to amend in the interim, so vote on the amendment and then go back to the original motion.
All right. We'll vote first on the, on an amendment to the resolution.
So Mr. Christo is to amend?
No.
Oh,
No.
I'm sorry. It's, no, I was just gonna vote, okay. So it's
Understand.
to appoint Sandra J. Lippman of Rotterdam, New York to the position of Secretary to the Chief, part-time with no employee benefits at an hourly rate of 28.0697, not to exceed $30,000 effective January 4th, 2016 through June 30th, 2016. That's the amendment. So we
Yes.
need to, they made the motion, we need to vote on the amendment first. So Mr. Christo,
No.
Mr. Lamore,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
No.
Mr. Valano,
Yes.
Mr. Tomazone.
No.
No. So there's 3 noes, 2 yeses, so it does not get amended, does not pass.
Very good.
Now we
So-
have to vote on the,
So I would like to make a comment to the original motion by council members Christo and Miller Herrera. Ms. Lippman has served the town for decades in the police department. In particular, she provides vital functions to the chief of police. We are in a position now where she is returning to assist in training staff in the police department. And her experience is vital. So I am not going to arbitrarily, I would not arbitrarily support a shorter term of any kind, because this already, it's basically built into the resolution, in my opinion, and I respect your both your opinions, Mr. Valano and Mr. Larmar. However, I believe that the chief of police is the one who should make that call. Once he understands and knows that the staff that is in the department is up to speed and there is no further need, if you will, for Ms. Lippman to serve in this current capacity, then we will do something different at that time. But I do not support an amendment because of that.
okay, so we just need to vote on it.
So go ahead, Ms. Marco. Yeah.
We're voting on the actual resolution
Yes.
4.16.
Yes.
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Lamore,
No.
Ms. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Valano,
No.
Mr. Tomazone.
Yes.
2 no, 3 yes, it passes.
Resolution 516.
Reappoint Megan Nahas of Rotterdam, New York to the position of clerk of the court commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2019.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christo. On the question? Okay, please call the vote.
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Lamore,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Valano,
Yes.
Mr. Tomazone,
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 516 passes. Resolution 616.
Reappoint Philip Eats of Rotterdam, New York to the position of Chair of the Town of Rotterdam Zoning Board of Appeals for a 1-year term commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
Councilmember Christo and a second by Councilmember Larmar. On the question?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd just like to bring to the attention of this board that last year we had, me and Councilman Lamore had the opportunity to appoint somebody to the board. It was Craig Serafini. Craig has had an opportunity to work with Chairman Eats in this particular capacity and has been thrilled with not only the quality of the work but also the diligence that he puts into fulfilling this role. This is certainly a good reappointment, and I look forward to having him on this board for another year.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Mr. Councilmember Valano. Anyone else? I'd like to say here, I wholeheartedly agree with you. So let's call for the vote, please.
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Lamore,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Valano,
Yes.
Mr. Tomazone,
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 616 passes. Resolution 716.
Reappoint Angelo Malilio of Rotterdam, New York to the position of member of the Town of Rotterdam Zoning Board of Appeals for a 5-year term commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2020.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Larmar. On the question? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Ms. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 716 passes. Resolution 816.
Appoint John Denny of Rotterdam, New York, to the position of Chair of the Town of Rotterdam Planning Commission for a one-year term commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016, and as a member of the Town of Rotterdam Planning Commission for a 7-year term commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2022.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. On the question? I would also like to recognize that Jack is here. Thanks very much for your service to the planning board, and appreciate you taking on the task of chairman of the planning board as well. Thank you very much. Let us call the vote.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Ms. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 816 passes. Resolution 916.
Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement for an attorney for the Town of Rotterdam Ethics Board for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christou. On the question?
Mr. Supervisor, I just want to make one inquiry because it doesn't specifically say that in the resolution, but I'm fine with the verbal. Based upon this, it's going to be the selection, the attorney is actually going to be selected by the Ethics Board once they've been reconstituted for the year of 2016, as opposed to the board directly appointing an attorney.
That's correct.
Very good.
And that's the way the law reads. Anyone else? Okay, Diane?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Ms. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 916 passes. Resolution 1016.
Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Marlou Carter of Rotterdam, New York, to provide secretarial and transcription services for the Town of Rotterdam Planning Commission and on an as-needed basis for the Zoning Board of Appeals for a one-year term commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Larmore. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Valano. On the question?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 1016 passes. Resolution 1116.
Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Lisa Gallo of Rotterdam, New York, to provide secretarial and transcription services for the Town of Rotterdam Zoning Board of Appeals and on an as-needed basis for the Town of Rotterdam Planning Commission for a one-year term commencing January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Larmore. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christou. On the question? Okay. Let's call the vote.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 1116 passes. Resolution 1216.
Authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Benjamin R. Moore of Rotterdam, New York for the unedited recording of town board meetings to be televised on public access television at a cost of $80 per meeting for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christou. On the question? Let's call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 1216 passes. So don't shut the camera. Okay. Resolution 1316.
Authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with the law firm of Gervin and Palazzo, P.C., 20 Corporate Woods Boulevard, Albany, New York, 12211, to represent the town of Rotterdam with respect to labor relations matters in an amount not to exceed $25,000.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. On the question?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 1316 passes. Resolution 1416.
Authorize the supervisor to negotiate and execute a contract with the BB Law Firm PPLC, 514 Vishers Ferry Road, Clifton Park, New York, to represent the town of Rotterdam related to the tax litigation matters for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Larmore. On the question?
Mr. Supervisor, just like to mention that I've had the opportunity to work with Scott Ronda from the BB Law Firm, both as a representative of the town of Rotterdam and also as an adversary in the court systems. I've done tax grievance work for many years, and I've always found this particular law firm to be a very skilled adversary. Certainly, they settle the cases that they should settle, but they also fight very aggressively for the town of Rotterdam, and I'm thrilled for the reappointment.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 1416 passes. Resolution 1516.
Authorize the supervisor to negotiate and execute a contract with Boys and Girls Club of Schenectady for services to be provided for to Town of Rotterdam for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Larmore. On the question? Hearing none. Call the
Mr.
roll, please.
Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 1516 passes. Resolution 1616.
Appoint First Niagara 555 Patroon Creek Boulevard, Albany, New York 12206 as agent of record for employee health insurance and related benefits for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Larmore. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Valano. On the question? Hearing none. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Thank you very much. Resolution 1616 passes. Resolution 1716.
Authorize payment of a stipend in the amount of $2,000 to the Comptroller of the Town of Rotterdam as received from Schenectady County Intermunicipal Watershed Board for services rendered for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Larmore. I'm sorry, he beat you out. On the question?
I only have one question, Mr. Supervisor. Is that $2,000 provided as a lump sum stipend at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year? Is it broken up equally into 26 installments? Do you know how that's particularly paid out?
It's broken up in installments.
Fantastic.
It's broken up in installments. It flows along with our payroll.
Very good.
Anyone else? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 1716 passes. Resolution 1816.
Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the County of Schenectady for participation in the Schenectady County Stop DWI program.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christou. On the question? Okay, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 1816 passes. Resolution 1916.
A resolution authorizing the utilization of specific engineering firms to act as town designated engineers for the calendar year of 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I think you did it to you again. Second by Councilmember Valano. Larmore. On the question, anyone?
Mr. Supervisor, I have one question.
Yes.
If during the course of the year, we deem another engineering firm qualified to be on this town designated engineers list, are we able to add someone?
Yes, we can modify that.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, anyone else? Okay, call roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 1916 passes. Resolution 2016.
Appoint and reappoint individuals as a member of the Town of Rotterdam Conservation Advisory Council.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Councilmember Larmar. On the question? On the question, I don't know if Andrea's still here. Andrea Capone, you're right in front. How could I miss you? Serves on our Conservation Advisory Council. Thank you very much. And is being reappointed. Is there anyone else here with you today? No, I don't think so.
Don't believe so.
I don't think so. Okay, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 2016 passes. 2116?
Appoint individuals to various seasonal and/or part-time positions at the indicated rates of pay for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christo. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. On the question? Okay, hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 2116 passes. Resolution 2216?
Appoint town board members as the official board of health of the town of Rotterdam for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Larimar. On the question? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 2216 passes. Resolution 2316?
Designate the Daily Gazette as the official newspaper for the year 2016 pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 64, parentheses 11.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Larimar. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Valano. On the question? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lamore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasson?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 2316 passes. Resolution 2416?
Authorize payment of 54 cents per mile for automobile use actually and necessarily traveled by town employees only in the event of a town-owned vehicle is not available and with prior approval of his or her immediate supervisor during the year 2016.
Okay, do we have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Valano. Anyone on the question?
I just have one question about this.
Yes.
For when they use a vehicle, they do have to have that put in a log, right? That's all I want to know, that there's some way to be able to know, whether we can check to make sure they had approval or anything. If it's in logged, and is that the way they go about it?
Well, town vehicles cannot be used for, for personal purposes, to do things for personal reasons, so.
Well, that's what I
But
meant.
Mr. Supervisor, does this legislation not discuss if you have to use a personal vehicle?
Right.
And I think what Mr. Lamore is saying, is there some sort of an audit trail to make sure that is
No,
not
he's
being abused?
he's not talking about, oh, I apologize, I thought you meant, when you said that, when you said the log, I thought you meant the town vehicles, I apologize. Well, they have to keep track themselves, and the comptroller's office will audit those
Right,
reports.
but I'm just saying, because they use our town gas and, and everything. And even the town vehicles, if they're using it outside the reaches of the town itself, there should be some kind of log to say when they used it, where they went, something like that, so we can have a little better knowledge that they're just not going on a joy trip and.
They don't. They do, so if they're using their own personal vehicle for something that has been a sanctioned town meeting, a town event, whatever the case may be, they have to complete an expense report, submit that to the comptroller as well, through the department heads, and through me, or through the highway superintendent, whomever, and to get those approved prior to them receiving any payment or reimbursement for their own personal use of their personal vehicle for town business, okay, mileage, so they're going to a convention or a meeting or something.
But now, how about?
But now, when it comes to the town vehicle, when our town employees go out on a call, they go out on a call. If they're going to a resident's home for a code enforcement action, or the police department is going to respond to a call, there's no log other than whatever vehicles may be GPS, which, could be
Well,
could
then
be
we
reviewed.
should be able to
Could
make
be
sure we have
reviewed,
access
so.
to that. Because we just want to make sure town vehicles are just not used to do whatever you want on your own, and then no one's calling them out on it, and then it just keeps happening. We don't want that kind of policy where you can just use town resources just for your own use. And
I can tell you with certainty that if that were to occur, the individual would be dealt with through the process that's prescribed if they are, in particular, if they are a union employee through their respective union contracts. Okay? I'll leave it at that without being overly specific. Anyone else? Resolution 2416. Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lomar?
yes,
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 2416 passes. Resolution 2516.
Authorize payment to all elected officials, appointed officials, annually rated permanent employees, and hourly rated employees for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Larmore. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Valano. On the question? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lomar?
Yes,
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 2516 passes. Resolution 2616.
Adopt employee benefits package for elected and appointed officials through December 31st, 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
A motion by Councilmember Christo. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. On the question? Okay, hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lomar?
yes,
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 2616 passes. Resolution 2716.
Establish petty cash funds in the various town offices for the year 2016.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christo. On the question? Okay, hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lomar?
Yes,
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 2716 passes. Resolution 2816.
Establish bank depositories for the town of Rotterdam funds and accounts for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Larmore. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Valano. Anyone on the question? Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lomar?
Yes,
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 2816 passes. Resolution 2916.
Authorize the supervisor and/or his designee to approve attendance of the town of Rotterdam employees to various schools and authorize payment of expense thereof.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christou. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. On the question? Okay, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Lomar?
yes,
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 2916 passes. Resolution 3016.
Authorize the Rotterdam Police Chief to approve attendance of members of the Rotterdam Police Department to various schools and authorize payment of expenses thereof.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christou. On the question?
one question I just have on that. Everyone needs to go to school for different various reasons, but is there a maximum for this? I don't see a price tag on this. I'm just wondering if we have a maximum so we don't get out of control.
It's whatever is in the town budget, which unfortunately, I have it behind me if you'd like me to look at it, but it's the budgeted amounts that are within the town budget.
All right, fair enough.
Just as it relates to actually the prior motion, since we're talking about expenses out of hand, it's my understanding that the newly elected town board members would like to attend a newly elected official training. I did it 2 years ago. It's actually a fantastic course. Also, I would recommend that each member, at least the newly elected members, get a copy of the town law book that's issued by the Association of Towns. It's a very reasonable $10 expense. I believe that they can pick it up when they actually go to that training meeting. However, there is no funding allowed in the current budget. Maybe in the January 13th meeting, there could be a resolution to fund that line so that they can attend it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? No question? Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 3016 passes. Resolution 3116.
Authorize the supervisor to approve the transfer of funds to the Rotterdam Police Chief for asset forfeiture investigations during 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Miller Herrera. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Christo. On the question? Okay, hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 3116 passes. Resolution 3216.
Authorize and direct the supervisor and/or his designee to prepare and file with the town clerk the annual financial report within 120 days of the close of the 2015 fiscal year, and direct the town clerk to publish the necessary legal notice.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Larmore. On the question? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 3216 passes. Resolution 3316.
Approve overtime payments to employees upon written approval of the town supervisor and/or his designees, except in emergency situations for the year 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Valano. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Miller Herrera. I think they were worried you might try to beat them out. So they waited. Anyone on the question?
Just on this one, once again, I just want to make sure that, the limit is what's already in the budget, and they're not going to ask for more and go over the budget and then keep asking for more, I presume.
The limit is within what is in the budget. However, if there are emergency situations, hopefully we do not exceed what is budgeted for overtime expenditures. But in the chance that those things do happen, we would be making some budget appropriations and changes and transfers. Let us pray that doesn't happen. So that's all I can say to that. But I agree with you there. Okay, Resolution 3316. Anyone else? Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 3316 passes. Resolution 3416.
Appoint various individuals to the Town of Rotterdam Emergency Medical Board and appoint Samantha Miller Herrera as chairperson.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilmember Christo. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Councilmember Valano. Anyone on the question? Okay, hearing none. Please call the roll.
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Valano?
Yes.
And Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 3416 passes. Thank you. Anyone have any committee reports today? This is the first of the year. We haven't really had any committee meetings yet, but anyone have anything they'd like to bring up under committee reports or miscellaneous? No, and we will not be going into executive session because we have nothing to discuss at the moment. So I'd like to call for an adjournment. This concludes our business for this evening, this afternoon. Do I have a motion for an adjournment?
I'll move.
Who was that?
Councilmember
Christo.
And a second?
Oh, I'll second it.
Yeah. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Thank you very much for being here today. Thank you.